When you first join the federal workforce, you are under either a probationary or trial period of employment. Generally, the probationary period lasts 1 year and the trial period lasts 2 years depending on the type of appointment. The probationary or trial period is the last step in the hiring process. It provides an opportunity for the selecting official, usually the supervisor, to assess or evaluate an employee's actual performance and conduct to determine if he or she is suitable for continued federal employment.
So when you come on board, your supervisor will provide you with a performance plan, which will include critical elements and performance standards, and your supervisor will evaluate you against those for your work performance. Now, on the other side of the house, the supervisor will also look at your conduct during the probationary period and look at things like your dependability, your resourcefulness, or your initiative. Your supervisor will notify you as soon as the work-related problem occurs. As soon as possible after that, your supervisor will let you know if there's a problem. And supervisors are expected to provide counseling during the probationary period to the employees. And if there's anything that you ask your supervisor that you need further guidance on or further knowledge about, your supervisor is expected to give you that kind of information as well. If your performance is deemed unsatisfactory during the probationary period, you'll be notified of that, and your supervisor will notify the Office of Human Resources to let them know that they have a situation that's come up and to determine whether or not a probationary termination action is appropriate. And if that is the case, if they do determine that it's appropriate, then you'll be notified of the effective date of your probationary termination and the reasons for it. Probationary employees do have the right to appeal. They have limited appeal rights to the Merit Systems Protection Board, what we call the MSPB. And those rights will vary depending upon what type of probationary termination action it's been, whether you were terminated for poor performance, or if you were terminated for conduct before employment, or if you were terminated for conduct after employment. Unfortunately, with the probationary terminations, there is no grievance process. You can resign prior to a probationary termination action being effective as long as it's before that date.
When you're appointed to your first supervisory position, you will serve a supervisory probationary period of 1 year.
If your first position with the federal government is a supervisory position, you'll be required to serve both a probationary period and a supervisory probationary period at the same time. The probationary period, however, takes precedence. Now, if you're promoted to or reassigned to a supervisory position from within the federal government, you're also required to serve a supervisory probationary period. You may go back to your non-supervisory role if you're not successful in a supervisory position. What we are required to do is to put you back to a position that's at no lower than the grade or pay from which you came.
For more information on your probation period, refer to the NCUA Employee Handbook, the OHR site on NCUA Central, Article 19 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement, or Chapter 18 of the NCUA Personnel Manual. Each year you work for NCUA, your supervisor will provide you with a copy of the performance standards for your position.
New employees should get their performance plan shortly after coming on board, normally within the first pay period, no longer than 30 days before coming on board. Each performance plan has a set of critical elements, usually 5 or 6, And under each of those critical elements, there are performance standards. So it's all set up where the employee performs work throughout the year, and the supervisor makes an assessment at the end of the year based on those standards and compares that to the work that was done throughout the year. There is a required progress review. It's held mid-cycle, and during that meeting, a supervisor will sit down with their employee and have a little chat about their performance, anything that they are doing well, maybe any kind of improvements. It's a two-way conversation. The cycle starts on October 1st and ends September 30th. So the appraisal's done shortly thereafter, September 30th. If you're not satisfied with your year-end appraisal, surely you can have a conversation with your supervisor and talk about your concerns. Or if you want to take it on a more formal note, you can contact EEO or you can file a formal grievance.
Any employee who scores at least fully successful on their year-end appraisal is eligible for a merit increase. For more information on performance management, refer to the NCUA Employee Handbook, the OHR site on NCUA Central, Article 26 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement, or Chapter 6 of the NCUA Personnel Manual. The Financial Institutions Reform, Recovery, and Enforcement Act, FAREA, exempts banking regulatory agencies like NCUA from the pay provisions used by most federal agencies. As a result, the NCUA Board has the authority to establish and adjust an NCUA-specific pay structure. The NCUA pay program has two National Pay Rate, or NPR, structures. Credit union pay structure covers all employees in non-executive positions, has 15 pay grades or pay bands, multiple locality pay rates. Senior staff pay structure covers all employees in executive positions, consists of positions above CU 15 pay grade. Positions have significant supervisory, management, and policy-making responsibility, has 3 pay grades or pay bands, multiple locality pay rates. Your initial pay rate, commonly referred to as your National Pay Rate, or NPR, is set within the pay band associated with the grade level of your position plus locality pay. Pay cannot be set below the minimum or above the maximum of a pay band. Your total pay is comprised of the National Pay Rate and your locality pay.
You get paid by direct deposit every 2 weeks via electronic fund transfer. Your check goes directly into your savings or checking account you designate. Your first paycheck will be 3 weeks after you start work and every 2 weeks thereafter. By law, all federal employees are required to receive federal payments electronically. It reduces the risk of losing your paycheck, and your salary is guaranteed to reach your financial institution on payday. NCUA has a pay-for-performance pay system. Most employees are eligible to receive a merit increase based on their performance rating. Merit increases are normally effective in January. With a promotion, you may receive a pay increase if you're promoted to a higher grade.
For more information on pay administration, refer to the NCUA Employee Handbook, OHR's site on NCUA Central, Article 9 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement, or Chapter 10 of the NCUA Personnel Manual.